Bist du fertig? Ich auch. Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god, man. You and I knew this would be good, but not this good. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe the smile off my face. Let's get to work. Let's be specific now. So a lot of sunshine. Remember the first episode we did on one of these things was all about the interior and how there was like no binnacle here. And here the sunshine is going right onto the gauges, and no degradation in quality of anything I can see at all. The range button, I can change the different settings for the drive modes. I can even see where the center of gravity is. So nice touch. It actually works in practice.
To be a green car, it was almost like a special effort. It was something that needed to be applauded. Given regulations, given market trends, and given investments over the past few years by the automakers, it's kind of given that they're going to be doing these cars. So just because a car has a battery, should you necessarily be applauding it anymore? Just because it cuts down on tailpipe emissions, should you be? I mean, this is stuff they've got to do. I'm not saying that within that you can't still recognize the best one.
The thing that jumps out immediately is, yeah, the propulsion system is totally different and magnificent at that, but it's also a Porsche. Like, this seat feels like a Porsche. The driving dynamics feels like a Porsche. Even though it's kind of a newfangled dashboard, it feels like a Porsche. It smells like a Porsche.
And oh, by the way, it's electric. I mean, but you know,
exactly. That's not why you would buy it.
And that's the approach change that's happened over the last few years. I mean, when this whole journey started, you had to be a tree hugger who wanted something like a Prius, and which is why
I lived in Venice, California for 10 years. Believe me, I know those people.
Yeah, they're everywhere, right?
They're everywhere.
And which is why the Prius sold so well here. And
just as an aside, do you have tree huggers in India?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Not the California kind. They're way more entertaining than the ones we have. And now I'm just being like politically incorrect. So
well, that's my show. It's politically incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, that was the only direction. And then when the Prius was a hit, everybody else started to do their Prius, and you got the Honda Insight. You even have the Ioniq, which is a much more recent product, but still has that silhouette. It was almost like, hey, if it's going to be green, it's got to look weird.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be conventional in any way. The Nissan Leaf, the first one was kind of weird looking.
Very weird
So
looking.
I think the fact that it became mainstream, and you have Tesla to thank for that.
A note about the color and trim selection on this specific Taycan. In Frankfurt, I saw this color, and it is absolutely stunning. But here, completely drowned out by a black interior and these Stormtrooper wheels. I know people are all excited about these Stormtrooper wheels, especially with the white car. I am not a fan. And the only reason why I say I'm not a fan is not that they're bad, but when you see the turbofan wheels with this color and a lighter color interior, wow. It makes not just this color stand out, but it makes the design of the Taycan stand out. And the reason why that's really important is that simultaneously, you look at this thing and you say, oh my God, that's a Porsche. Even your grandmother would say, yeah, that's a Porsche. But then you look at it a little bit deeper and you say, there's something different about that. So it's not like they made a design change just for the sake of discussion because, oh my God, there's a new propulsion system, so we got to make it look weird. It still draws from Ferry's original, but Santa Maria Madre de Dios.
There's also the eligibility, because some cars would only qualify for, you know, a category award, but not for, you know, the big one, the World Car of the Year. Case in point, the Porsche Taycan. It's not eligible because of price and for sort of democratic reasons.
Well, what's the price cap?
No, but here's the thing. Before we get into talking about price caps, I have to put this out, that there are many people on the jury who believe there should not be one, because a good car is a good car is a good car, and that's what we are there to assess. How much would the Taycan be for in the US anyway?
In the US, it's the ones that are currently available, which is only the Turbo and the Turbo S, they are currently $160,000 US and above.
Yeah, so well, there's two schools of thought on that. There's some people who believe the cutoff should be 150,000. There are some who think it should be 100,000. And you know, you lose a lot of cars that way, and I get it. The idea should be that if you if you bring everything in, then it's always going to be the most sophisticated, the most luxurious, the most well-developed product that's going to win, because obviously it is that good, and it kind of leaves the cars like the budget products, which are a lot more difficult to develop because you have so many more constraints and so many more sort of boundaries that you can't work outside of.
So one more rather important thing we need to unpack here is the brakes. Not so much panic stop, but driving dynamics of the brakes. Because remember, this is a totally different propulsion system. The brakes are going to change with that as well. And the thing you notice immediately is you really don't notice anything. It's not like that on-off switch you get in some EVs and plug-in hybrid type cars. We can accelerate, go up to this beautiful road here, and then hit the brakes harder, and you can modulate the pedal feel. That's something that you don't generally get in vehicles that have alternative propulsion systems.
It's become mainstream, so the functionality, the purpose of that product, they were still trying to create a car that when you walked into the showroom, you saw it from a mile and said, that's your green product. You know what I mean?
Like, and you either loved it or hated it.
Yeah, so it needed to be weird. It needed to be, it's like the BMW i3. It needed to look not like the other BMWs. Someone thought that in management.
I go back to the point of when I first saw this car and spoke to the engineers. And what they shared with me was we literally had to approach this unlike any other car we've built. Like, go back to the original Porsche, where it wasn't so much, hey, let's electrify a Panamera. They could have done that, and they would have sold every single car they would have made. But here, they went to the root level of the problem and said, what is the problem we are trying to solve? And in this case, a different propulsion system in a Porsche way. And now they're finally behind the wheel of this thing, not on a track, not with the engineer, just by myself. What stands out here is, yes, a totally different way it delivers power. A totally different way as I get to a really fast car, but it's still a Porsche. It still has all the driving dynamics of a Porsche. But here's the important thing that layers on top of that. You and I both know the minute you add a plug-in vehicle, you're adding a tremendous amount of weight because of all the batteries, and it completely changes the packaging and thus the driving dynamics. Here, you don't notice it at all.
It's post-Tesla that you got a Jaguar I-Pace, or you got a Taycan now, where the intent of the car is not to be electric.
I've often thought Elon Musk's stroke of genius with Tesla was not the propulsion system, it was hiring Franz from Mazda to make a car that could have been a box, but make it look like an Audi S7.
Desirable.
Because that's what people wanted.
Desirable.
When you went home to your wife and said, we're going to get a new car, she's like, I want an Audi S7. And you had a happy home when you brought home an Audi S7 or something that looked like it.
A heavily mortgaged home as well, I'm guessing, but happy.
So the way we do this world car thing, we get hour slots with each car. So you can imagine, it's like, yeah, that's enough time with a Venue, but with this and 718 Spider, no, it's not enough time. So myself and Scotty, we kind of banded together and we took 2 cars out at a time so we can keep them out for 2 hours rather than go back to Pasadena. So I got Scotty behind me in the Venue, and she wants to get in this thing, and I'm like, I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. Please don't take this from me and make me drive a Hyundai Venue, please.
So the Taycan, that's done.
Rips your face.
The 718, but for completely different reasons.
Completely different reasons.
It's kind of sad that they kind of go up against each other in that category, because I'm guessing that the Taycan's going to win because of its whole EV. Who knows?
Well, we can't give it, but there's also the 992. That could win too.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't, oh,
no, because it's going to get
now.
lost between these two. You know, there's going to be the guys who are going to applaud the EV-ness of the Taycan and how much it's...
I'm going to throw you out of here if you say something bad about a 911.
It doesn't do anything wrong, but I don't think it brought as big a smile on my face as those 2 other cars did.
I could agree with that.
That's why.
Yeah.
I feel like...
Yeah.
Don't forget, a lot of our jurors might be voting very systematically and methodically when they're giving out points later on, when they do the voting. But there is still a lot of heart that goes into that voting. It's emotional and practical
So give
voting.
me some advice here, because honestly, I'm
No,
having
I don't
a
want to
hard time.
influence you. So
No, I get in the 718, and I had to go and...
all right.
I took a car at night when you guys went to dinner. I let you go to
yes,
dinner.
I didn't get the keys to that car because you had it. So I do know this.
But it was the only car I chose. I even let the 992
Which is why
stay
I
there.
didn't, throw tantrums. I even left the 992. Okay.
Yeah, that's a giver on my part.
Yeah. No. Right now, you have the trophy in your hand. You have to hand it to one of those two. 718 Taycan.
Between the two? Oh man, that's
World
tough.
Performance Car of the Year. That's not how this system works. But
Okay, so this is.
no, this is just me
I don't
putting
want
you
to
on
get
the
in trouble
spot.
with Beth.
This is me
I don't want her
putting
to
you.
excommunicate me from the Church of World
You
Car.
have my word.
Okay, he's the
Sure.
director. He's like kind of the boss.
Okay.
I'd have to go Taycan
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
because it's a technological.
You don't have to
marvel.
say why, and that's the reason why
Well, it
I
also
think
rips
it'll
your
win.
face off.
No, which is why I think it'll win.
Yeah.
Even though the 718 probably is the one I would rather drive all day.
Oh, all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
After being impressed with the Taycan.
Very much.
All right, so we've spent enough time on Porsche.
So I just turned around here and there was this couple that had this super cute Siberian Husky, so of course I had to stop. And they're looking at the car, I'm looking at the dog, and like, isn't that the Tesla killer? And I'm like, yes, but no. And so many people want to say that's a Tesla killer. In reality, the Tesla, it's an amazing engineering marvel. As much as people want to crap on Elon, what he created is absolutely a feat of engineering, and an American one at that. But this is different. This is, yes, a feat of engineering, but it's more an engineering tour de force because it's a sports car that has a totally different propulsion system. What confuses people and what makes people think that this is a Tesla killer is it has 4 doors. But in reality, you got to think about it this way. This is an electric 911 that happens to have 2 extra doors.